All right, y'all. Good evening. It's your favorite Thursday night podcast, the Fang Exchange. We one of our people short. Ellis was a
Yeah,
little
I
busy
had
tied up with work.
some other things to do, so we're gonna hold
Yes,
it down.
we gonna hold it down. We ain't gonna hold you too long because we know things are going on. We wanted to come in here, pop in, and talk about a few things, and then jump on up out of here. I see Meredith is already in the chat. Of course,
Demetra,
as always, drop where you from,
Frank,
drop
yep.
where you listening from, and then of course, as I always like to ask, drop what year you came into FAMU, drop your dorm, let us know where you representing from. Um, actually, what we going into first? Let's go ahead and let's get it.
Well, we're officially at the very end of football season, even for everybody, all football games. We're in bowl season, pretty much,
We're in
right?
bowl season.
Our season ended 2 weeks ago, just
November
about.
29th. Yep,
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. Ended on a high note. But
absolutely.
now it's the bowl season in which the family, we're not a part of the bowl season through football, but we are a part of the postseason as it pertains to the band. So the March 100 has an opportunity to be a part of the Celebration Bowl festivities in the band of the year. Hey Gail, it's a girl Gail checking in with us.
The
So
goat,
yep,
Gail,
that's
the
our
goat.
girl. So we're just excited and happy to have our representation. The March 100 is who they've always been. We have high expectations. They have high expectations to come out with the win tomorrow night. So you're in Atlanta, so I know you're considering going to check out the March 100.
No, I will be there. I'll be at the Marching 100. The Battle of the Bands, and I'll be at the Celebration Bowl as well. So I'll be there all weekend.
Okay, so you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get a little bit of action from from Friday night to Saturday night and all the things in between. So we were at the
Absolutely.
Celebration Bowl last year and it was like an amazing time. Just felt like a big happy family reunion,
Family
right? So I can
reunion.
imagine it's
Yeah.
gonna be the same way this year, right? Anytime the HBCU families get together, it's gonna always be a good time. It's always a good mixture of the different schools. It's not always necessarily the two schools are represented playing the game.
No.
So
Mm-mm.
I know for sure I've only been to Celebration Bowl once, and that was last year because
Okay.
we were in it. So of course I was gonna make sure I was there. But if it's anything like last year, then I know it's gonna be a good time.
It's always a good time.
I know it's
I've
gonna be a
been
good time.
the last few years, and it's always a great time, no matter who it is. The SWAC has a little area, if you familiar. There's a little area that we all kind of hang out at, and we just talk mess the same way we do
Of
on
course.
Twitter and on Facebook, and we just have a good time. So
Anybody in the chat, if, anybody considering or maybe in the Atlanta area, and let us know if you're going to the Celebration Bowl. Let us know if you're gonna be there, just enjoying the festivities, representing the family, because just because our team is not playing doesn't mean we can't represent um
absolutely,
ourselves and be visible. So let us know in the chat if you plan to go. Even if you went last year, and some of y'all like your favorite memories of last year's Celebration Bowl. Like, I don't even know if I could pick a favorite memory from Celebration Bowl last year. There was just so much going on. It was such a beautiful time. I mean, my blood pressure got high periods, throughout the game, but in the end, we prevailed. So overall, a very, very good time. A lot of festivities. Atlanta is us anyway. That's our
absolutely.
second home. So it's always comfortable to be in Atlanta for the family.
I
So
was
let us know in the chat if y'all plan to go this year, or even if you just want to reminisce on the good time we had last year and how you enjoy, having that HBCU experience, all coming together to celebrate, HBCU unity. So not only that, let's make sure we support the March 100. I believe it'll be on ESPN Plus if you're not in Atlanta to actually make it to the game. So let's make sure we're supporting our band. One of the doorsteps to our university, world renowned, traveled all over the place, represented in commercials and in fashion shows and major parades and all those things. So I mean, March 100, they speak for themselves in what they do. So there's no doubt that they'll go out tomorrow night at the band competition and come back number one. And we already number one for us, so we're just waiting for the rest of them to see that we're number one. So we have an opportunity to be number one for another year around. So kudos to the March 100 for making it, making it this far. So outside of that, what else? What else you want to talk about? I know
Oh,
there's a lot going
I
on.
wanted to talk about my Celebration Bowl experience, okay?
All right,
Because
let's hear your
yes,
experience. All
yes.
right.
So I had already did my prayers before I got to the Celebration Bowl, right? And the Lord
Uh-huh.
already told me that we was gonna win, but He
Okay,
told me it
okay.
was gonna be,
You should
it
have
was
told
gonna
me
be a little
then because,
stress.
honey, I was stressed. Why you ain't let me
Listen,
know?
so I get there, and like I said, all the other years I'm hanging out in the little area that the sweat, we kind of congregate.
Right,
Well, of course, my team is in it last year, so I'm going to my seat. I don't want to eat. I don't want to talk. It's strictly business. This is a business trip for me at this point. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So I'm in there. Howard goes up. I'm like, okay. Howard goes up. That interception Musa throws. He throws the interception with a corner, just that safety. He just read the play just perfectly. Interception, pick six, takes it to the house. So I'm like, okay. For whatever reason, when Musa gets sacked in the end zone and they get a safety and they go up 16-0, I lost it. Okay. I was like, Lord,
You
you
forgot. You
said.
forgot.
I got so nervous. I was like, oh my God, because we hadn't answered back, not even a field goal, nothing. We didn't answer any, it was 16-0.
Right.
Man, so like I was telling Ashley, I was looking on the sideline and I was looking at Coach Simmons, and he never lost his cool. The players never lost their cool. They never hung their head. Like they never, at no point, ever
Right.
looked like, man, we might lose this game. So it just calmed me down. And of course, we would go back to win it. And it was just them last when Isaiah Major gets that last pick, right? And so then they like, we got to look at it or whatever.
That's exactly what Meredith
And
said too.
yeah, he gets that pick. And they like, oh, we gotta go back and review it. And I'm like, man, that was a pick. Like this game is over. And so when they ruled, the ruling on the field stood, and it was an interception. I was like, it's over. It's done. We won it. All we got to do is just kneel on the ball. Whatever we got to do is done. So it was man. It was. I had such a good time. I finally could eat after
Okay.
later on.
Listen, I'm superstitious, so I already told you. Like my favorite moment is got to be the flea flicker because it was just
That was so good.
that's like the player of the year for me last year. Like
So
that was
good.
just like it was so
It was
gutsy, but
so
so
good.
like perfect at the same time. But I told y'all like because when I play sports, I'm just kind of when it comes to sports, I get real superstitious and when I was sitting in that game and they were just going down point by point. I mean, I remember I still have a vision of the kickoff, and I was like, they look so lost at the kickoff. It's like I was like, I don't think they know the game started. Like I literally was like, I think they weren't ready. Like y'all didn't count them down. Y'all didn't tell them the game was starting because
it was a big
these boys
moment.
like look like they don't even know we here.
Yeah.
So we just kept fumbling and fumbling, not literally fumbling, but like just letting Howard look like they were gonna come out here and destroy us. And I was like, oh my God. So finally, I don't know won the game, but I just know I got up and went into the lobby area where the concession stands are. And I was like, and they started playing better. So I went and sat back down, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm feeling good. They playing better. Look like we coming back. I can't even remember what exactly happened, but it went wrong again. And it looked like it was going down here. And I got up again. I said, it's me. And when I'm watching this game,
I'm the G.
That's when they started playing bad. So I'm gonna just go out and stay in the lobby because when I was in the lobby a few minutes ago, they looked they was doing better. But I tell you, I watched that game from the concession stand in lobby area. I did not walk back in there until the confetti was coming down. Because in my mind, they was playing bad because I was in there watching the game, and when I walked out, they played better. So that means I need to stay out until they got it together. I was convinced, but once I finally came to my senses and realized that we're playing really bad, but we're only down by like 2 scores. I was like, we're not gonna lose this game. Like, why am I acting like this? I kind of had to check myself and be like, I mean, they really should have been beating us by like 4 scores based on the way we were playing, 4 touchdowns. I'm like, nah, they just playing with us. They just, they did this the whole season anyway. They ran our blood pressure up, then they come back and get it together. So, overall, they stressed me out a little bit, but amazing experience. Let's see what Kenya said. Kenya said this is what day before her 50th birthday, celebrated at a hotel. Whole weekend was magical. That was a great birthday gift to you because Kenya is like Rattler #1, first of all. So imagine that close as a birthday present to win Celebration Bowl that close. And she was able to celebrate, have a good time. It was just like she said, fun. yet scary because I
Outside
know.
of the bins was magical. Everybody was.
Yep,
It was like a family reunion. We
yep.
were
It felt
having a
like a
good
big
time. We were
good time.
shopping. We were talking. It's like you see somebody. I was like, oh my god, oh, and you know, you. It was. Oh man.
I mean, and because it's this time of year, I mean, you think about it, we're all graduates. We don't live in the same cities, so
Yeah.
you got like another homecoming of sorts.
Yes, that's what it was. We had
It's
three
like a
last
whole
year.
nother
We talked
homecoming.
about it.
Yeah, yep,
We had
yep. Because of
three.
SWAC championship.
Yep.
Was it a SWAC championship?
Homecoming. Yes,
Homecoming.
homecoming,
Yep.
SWAC championship, and celebration bowl. It was three homecomings last year. Last year was like the year.
I
It
see
was
Meredith
the
laughing
year.
at my
It was the
superstition.
year.
But I was
It was the
convinced that it
year.
was me. That was the reason I was playing bad. Demetra said her halftime, we were down. Only down by 6. She knew we would win at that point. She was like chilling the whole game. Girl, she said her son was in tears.
That 16
Listen,
points ran my pressure. I ain't gonna lie. 16-0 was crazy.
I think it what quarter did we
Or
actually
was it
start
16-7?
scoring again? We scored
Maybe
what?
it was 16-7. I think it was 14-0. Then I think we scored, and then it went 16-7 or something like that. Something. But we were way down. And
We just were like out of sync. It just looked like
when
we just
Musa
were
Musa
not
was trying to
ready.
make something
Yep.
happen. And when I'm like, Musa, we on the 1 yard line. You don't need to be trying to hold on to the ball. I didn't understand the play call then anyway, because I'm like, why, anyway. But either way, and that flea flicker, when that happened and Musa actually caught the ball, I was like, oh baby, it was
Listen,
magical. The stars were aligned. It was just meant for us
it
to
was
win that
meant to
game.
be. It was the whole season was magical. If we really think
100%.
about the way the season played out,
100%.
I was like, we couldn't ask for a better 2023.
No.
Sorry about that. We couldn't
Because
ask for a better 2023 at all.
Because Coach Simmons said that they had tried the flea flicker a million times in practice and it never worked.
Right,
So
which
he
is
called it.
like, why would you even try that?
Exactly. He called it, and it had never worked. He said it never worked in practice. I was like, oh my gosh. He called it and it worked. But yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I do remember a touchdown being taken back. Yep.
yeah, it was. I think it was like 2 that game. It was crazy, but
It was a lot that happened. But I mean, I tell you what, Howard came to play at the beginning. They came out ready to thump around, and we came out acting like we didn't know the game had started for a minute.
Absolutely.
But we pulled it together. Gail said she had to be the therapist in her section. We did. And we act like
everybody.
That's honestly what made me become comfortable. That comforted me during the Celebration Bowl, because I'm just like, oh my God, like what are we doing? And then it just all came back to me eventually. Like, we've been doing this all season.
Yeah,
like,
we play from behind all the time.
We played from behind. We came back second half and we made our adjustments. And it's almost like the guys would be like, you know what, y'all, let's just stop playing with them. Let's stop thinking that making them think they're gonna win or have a chance, and they just flip that switch and they turn it on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Threaded the needle with oh yes, I remember that.
Listen,
I was scared that Willie had even called that. Like, I was like, but it's the championship. You go for it. You go for everything.
You do.
So and Kamari, but I trusted Kamari. That he was a magical tight end. So
yeah, but, Kamari, I always be like, throw it to the tight end. Kamari,
throw it to the tight end. Kamari gonna get it.
Whatever you do.
And Kelvin had him a game.
Kelvin did. I love his touchdown too.
Kelvin had him 2 of them. He had 2 of them.
Yep.
Really?
I don't remember if he had 2, but I know for sure he had the one he came out the backfield and ran the route into the end zone. I believe he had 2. We had the vice president at our Celebration Bowl. Like,
yeah.
Don't get no better.
I watch the highlights regularly throughout the year.
I need to go back and watch the highlights myself.
I watch the highlights all the time. I can't find the whole game, but I watch the highlights all the time. But let's kind of, in keeping with that, right? So we want to be able to, of course, get back to Celebration Bowl. I told Ashley, I tell her all the time, I don't want to go to Celebration Bowl again unless I'm sure we're gonna win it. So, we in doing that, we have to make sure that we have the players that can get us there. And one of the things that the commissioner actually was talking to the coaches about, there was a meeting, and he was talking about the fact that, if we want to stay on par with other D1 programs collectively as, SWAC schools, that we need to get on brand with NIL. And we are one of the schools, we're one of the 3 SWAC schools. I believe actually there are 4, because they said that Grambling has something in place. Not exactly sure. They don't have a collective, but they do have,
I think they have
NIL. Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple
Mhm.
of deals. But so there are four SWAC schools that we know for sure that are engaging in NIL either through collective or through some type of deal, and that is um that's Alcorn, that's Jackson State, that's FAMU, and then Gremlin. And then I believe actually there are a couple of players at Southern that have deals from like just from businesses and stuff like that. But there are only three collectives. So there's the
Right.
KC 1400 at Jackson, and then there's 1871 at Alcorn, and then the Fang Exchange, of course, at FAMU. Um, and so there was a tweet that went very, very viral from our very own DC, from Milton Patterson. And I believe you have it, Ashley. You want to put it up?
Yeah, I
Do
put
you
on the
have it?
screen for us to see.
Milton says, how about we add buyouts to NILs and aid agreements? If a program wants the players you've helped develop, then buy out the cost of his scholarship to help smaller schools build an NIL. Now it's competitive. Just a thought. And of course, this at 9:35. I mean, when we last got that tweet, it was at almost 78,000 views.
And
Um,
a lot of people could see the vision and the way that made sense, especially for universities who like ours who spend time developing athletes and finding those diamonds in the rough. And then a lot of times they either get poached because we know poaching is happening, whether it's being admitted or not, or they see an opportunity to move to a program that might have bigger facilities, might play in a larger conference, might have a larger NIL bandwidth that schools like FAMU and other HBCUs and FCS level schools don't have. So his thing is, hey, like if we're going to spend the energy, effort, and time through scholarships and through NIL to develop you, let's treat it like honestly the way professionals do it, and have these schools that want these athletes to buy them out, and it's really just something to think about, honestly. Now there are a lot of you know probably hiccups and barriers to truly having a buyout, because then you start to wonder, well, what's considered a buyout? How much do you pay for any particular athlete? Is it based on classification? Is it based on skill set? Is it based on um position? Is it like, what do you really base it on? And then it probably might require the NCAA to get involved, which that's a whole nother beast. But it's like
no.
you said, it's a great concept, right? Like, who sets the buyout price? Like,
Well,
fam,
he
you
said
say,
it.
well, you want my running back, you're gonna have to pay $10,000 to get him,
No, he
right?
said it. He said it. It's a buyout of their scholarship. So it would be according to how much the school has paid up until that point for his scholarship. So if the person is on full scholarship, you would pay the full amount for as long as he's been at FAMU. So the where I think it gets intricate and complicated is where you have these serial transfer portal hoppers. So he
Mhm.
came from Arkansas, and then he came to FAMU, and now another school wants him. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like FAMU, if you are you paying out for the year, just the year that he was at FAMU, or are we talking about the year? You know what I'm saying? Which it probably would not be, but
It
my
probably have to
thing,
be year to year, especially since these
it would
these
be
athletes
for
are
as long
literally,
as, yeah, it would be,
they're ending up at 2 and 3, maybe even 4 schools, depending
yeah,
on how often they jump. So if you're going to buy out like the cost of the scholarship, or even like the cost of that year, or let's just say an athlete stay for 2 years, maybe the cost, whatever it takes for you to buy out the scholarship, every scholarship has a value, whether it's
yeah,
partial or full. There is a value attached, dollar value attached to that, because these
right.
schools, I pay for your rooming, most likely. They
That's
pay
what he's
for
saying. That's
food.
what
They
he's
pay
saying.
for your books. They pay for your training, that the training that goes into what it takes to get you to your level. So
Well,
you know,
he's not even talking about all of that. He's
yeah,
saying just literally if
just your
it costs
scholarship.
us, yeah, if it costs us $15,000 to room and board, meal plan, and tuition, it costs us $15,000 for ex athlete for 2 years. Then the buyout should be, $30,000 because he's been here for 2 years, and we have paid. This is what the cost of it is. My thing is, what would be the advantage, which essentially I guess the only advantage is getting an athlete, but what would push the bigger schools to actually do it? Because what we also know is they could get that player, and while most of them do pan out, some of them don't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and then, if I'm a bigger school and I'm getting a FCS player and I don't plan to start him. He's for depth. I'm not going to buy out. And that actually could help,
So
smaller
it helps them,
schools.
and
Yeah.
it kind of helps that player, because then it means that schools, hopefully that would mean that an intentional school will come for you and be willing to make your buyout, rather than
Right.
some of these schools that have a couple $10,000 extra dollars in the budget and they say, let me go throw that,
Yeah,
the
his
linebacker over
scholarship.
there at FAMU,
But he
when I
just
really
for
only,
depth.
$10,000 is not a lot of money in my school's budget. So I don't mind paying, giving them $10,000 worth of scholarship or NIL to have them come
Right.
to be the fourth string.
Right.
I think
Right.
so. Maybe it makes the schools that want the athlete to be more intentional about who they come to get, and it also could help. The athlete themselves may feel stifled of sorts, but in the end, it works out in your favor when you can stay in a school that'll actually give you playing time and give you a fair chance to get your opportunity. Because what we do know is that if you're an NFL caliber athlete, it doesn't matter that you're playing at FAMU. It doesn't matter that you may be playing at Florida State. It doesn't matter that you may be even playing at a Toledo or Tarleton State. If you're good enough to make it to the NFL and you're on the field and getting film, they will find you. They will invite you. They will respect you enough to give you an opportunity. One thing we love for them to start doing is drafting more HBCU players. But overall, we have quite a few HBCU players across the board from different schools who are actually actively on rosters in the NFL. So going to a bigger school does not guarantee that you'll get the NFL looks, because there's a good chance that you won't even, you may not even get the playing time that you hope for, because you were a superstar at an FCS level school, but then you go to FBS level and you become reserves.
Yeah. I think what Milton kind of was hinting at essentially is kind of the same thing that happens with the coach. When they want a coach and he's still under contract, they buy
Yep.
out that
They buy
contract.
them out.
You know what I'm
If
saying?
they just
So
serious about them, they'll
if
buy them out.
he's exactly, so that it's the same thing with those the players. If you're that serious about this player, we've developed him. We spend all our time, getting him nutrition, building, his body mass and all that stuff. But and like what I conversation I was having is that when you are like the premier, especially HBCU programs, we're talking about FAMU, Texas State, Tennessee State, those schools, NCCU, you are always going to be susceptible to that getting poached, because
Yep.
a lot of our players were only really, if we're talking about it, they were 2 or 3 inches away from getting a look, or 25 pounds away from getting a
Right.
real look at an
Right.
FBS program. And so what happens is we get those players that were, they were just a little bit too short or whatever, and so when they see that, oh, those little 3 inches that he's too short, or he's 10 pounds too small, it doesn't matter. He's still a dog. He still can play.
He still has the
That's
speed and skill.
yeah.
Yep.
That now they want him. You know what I'm saying? And so essentially, we get these diamonds in the rough, and I think that we're gonna have to sadly accept, that we will be that for not only our athletes, but coaches as well. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be always looking to us to see what we have, because we have been
Unfortunately,
able to develop.
those bigger schools, a lot of bigger schools look. Last season made me realize how much the bigger
They
schools with
looking at
larger
us.
budgets and larger resources and all the things, and can go and probably get any high school athlete they want. They literally look to our programs to see what they like and what they would want to take and bring onto their programs for reserves, sometimes for playing time. But for whatever the reason that they want an athlete, they're like it was really eye opening last off season and recruiting season, when it made me realize, like, we really are at jeopardy of losing the best talent that we have, even coaches and as well as athletes, because these schools have their eyes open and ears to the knowing that, okay, I know for sure, because you can depend on a certain program, especially in our space, that that you're going to get some high level talent. Like, it's no question about it. There's going to be high level talent at FAMU football, especially. I mean, you talk about other sports. We have great athletes in all sports. We had a tennis athlete that moved on. We've had volleyball athletes. It's not just football even. So one thing for certain is that these larger schools know that we take this serious. that we take our athletes serious, and that we actually have coaches who come here, develop, have a strength and conditioning program that gets that muscle that he wasn't big enough out of high school, but maybe he is now, or that speed that he needed to get a little faster. Or sometimes these athletes have growth spurts when they're in college, and they become tall enough and big enough in that perfect size that these coaches and schools are looking for out of high school, that they kind of develop in college. And then here we are, like what Milton Patterson is saying, left out to dry of sorts to, when it comes to that. So Frank said, he likes the idea of the buyout. It should go hand in hand with scholarships. Yep, that's exactly what Milton is saying. Buy it out for the scholarship, for the price of the scholarship. If you're very serious about taking one of our athletes, make sure we get something in return for the energy and effort that we put into it. And Meredith said she thinks that Isaiah Lamb was a good example of this. He was very small. He got developed. Look at him now. Very, very much so. Because out of high school, he says it all the time that, FAMU gave him opportunity. Coach Simmons gave him an opportunity to grow. And he needed to have, he's out there in the NFL on the 53-man roster, playing with the same players who got offered scholarships to schools that he couldn't get coming out of, high school. But he came to FAMU, took his opportunity, took the development, grew, worked hard, and he's doing exactly. He just took a different route. Marquise Bell also was given an opportunity to grow at FAMU, where he had another opportunity, but he chose FAMU. So at the end of the day, that's one thing. Another thing that these athletes need to also see is look at the examples of those Isaiah Land and Marquise Bell and Marcus Riley and those individuals who might have, some of them landed at other schools, but then decided to come to FAMU and finish out their college career, and they still are where the end goal is, which is to make it professionally. So that's another thing that we have to have some good advising going with these athletes and try to advise them to make the best decision for themselves. It doesn't put them in a position where they're taking money but not getting the playing time, or you're going somewhere where the facilities might be a little better than where you are right now, but you're not getting the playing time, which is still ultimately hampering your ultimate goal is to get to a professional level if you have the ability to do so. So they have to keep that in mind. I mean, it's definitely not a bad idea. There are a lot of ideas floating around, about NIL and scholarship agreements and how to get creative, because we're in a position where, just like the commissioner said, we have to be careful, because we'll be developing players and they'll be walking in the door, getting developed, and walking right back out.
Yep, absolutely. So that is why it is very important that we invest in NIL. That's what this show was. That's where we even got the idea to keep that at the forefront, to discuss, all things new that concern NIL and of course FAMU. But the main thing being the main thing, because ultimately Fang Exchange is a collective designated to the FAMU athlete and to getting them deals and having them to be able to, monetize their name, image, and likeness. And they do that, through, of course, your efforts collectively as a fan base, and of course from other brand deals and partnerships that we are able to go out and secure. So 100%, I know it's the off season for football. We're still rolling the basketball. We're still rolling into other sports, but we know that, of course, football being the staple program and the flagship program of the school, football season does not end when we are no longer playing football, because now we move into really what I consider to be the most important part of football season, which is recruiting. Yep. Because that's going to determine what will look like next year when it's time to play football. The off season is everything. It's how they train, it's who they get in, and so we have to really, really, really be on par with what we're doing, because we would like to be able to secure as many athletes as possible, but we need your help in order to be able to do that. So please, on our ticker is every way that you can get in contact with us, every way that you can give to us, all of our platforms. Of course, you can always reach out to us, but do not stop giving to those initiatives. Do not get you some more liquor. Some of y'all, I know y'all done drunk all your social vodka.
Just skimming around anyway. You got 2 weeks to make. Here we go.
Get you some more vodka.
Get that bottle. It's Christmas gift time. It's time to hang out with the family. It's time.
And I know it done ran out. I know it ran out.
You know you ran out.
Drinking it every other day.
Might as well.
Go
Make
ahead and
sure
get you some
you're able
more
to have it.
bottles. Get you some more bottles. Okay. Um,
Football is year round. That's absolutely right. Because then you
absolutely.
think about it, we're rolling from here. The transfer portal is open right now. We have
Yes.
seen a handful of players of our own enter the transfer portal for one reason or another. So we're not only bringing in new players, but we're re-recruiting the current players and making sure that we show them the value. And one example, when you're talking about how like Fang Exchange, its focus is to allow these players to monetize their name, image, and likeness. For example, here's a good example. We have an alum who reached out about working with some athletes, and we have an athlete who was getting ready to create a commercial for their business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of things that we're talking about. Basically they paid into the name, image, and likeness of the athlete, and then now they're in return will get a commercial that will promote their business. So it's essentially marketing for their business. And that athlete gets an opportunity to practice their professionalism through recording, through videography, through commercials, and then they also get an opportunity to truly have real name, image, and likeness, and have an opportunity to take advantage of that. So those are examples. Elijah, when he created the shirt, that was an opportunity for those 5 players on that shirt through Fix My Soul to use their name, image, and likeness. Literally, their images are all throughout the shirt and their names. It's a prime example of a merchandise deal where they were able to sell merchandise and recuperate, make funds based on the name, image, and likeness. So a lot of collectives are doing things that kind of resemble pay for play type of situations, and a lot of collectives, and we can't control what other people are doing, but what we can do is do it the right way. And we truly believe in being able to capitalize off your name, image, and likeness. And in order to do that, you have to be marketable, right? As an athlete, the athlete has to be marketable. So that means that Fang Exchange has to be very meticulous and careful about who we pick, which athletes we choose to bring into the fold, because they need to be marketable. Of course, a lot of times if you're performing well in the field, you probably have some level of marketability, but it's even more than that. It's character. It's the way you carry yourself. It's your personality. It's a lot of things that go into play with that we kind of review as a board, and then we determine who we like to partner with on our football team, basketball team, volleyball team, in which you'll see more of coming into 2025. You'll see more variety of athletes, women athletes, as well as a different set of football players, because the new year is rolling around. A lot of our previous Fang Shay athletes are either graduating this weekend or moving on to the next level. So you'll see a new set, and that's what we'll keep doing. So that's why it's so important when we talk about this with you all, that we want you all to kind of stay locked in with us, to stay engaged with us, and make sure you're getting your liquor, make sure you're buying the merchandise. We have some new merchandise that's coming at the top of the year as well that you'll be able to purchase as well. Make sure that if you own a business, that you're being one of those businesses that'll say, hey, I want to use one of the athletes to market my business, to get in front of another fan base or another demographic of people. So those are kind of things that we engage in. Not only that, we engage with brand deals that are on a regional level, not just local, regional, and national level, that these athletes can do meet and greets. We want you all to be able to do meet and greets and sign autographs and take pictures with the young Rattler fans who absolutely love our athletes, by the way. So actually we'll be doing a year in review, because although we only kind of have done things probably for the last half of 2024, that's when we really got things rolling. We'll do a year review and show you all what we've done and what we worked on, and how these athletes have been able to engage in name, image, and likeness. So just make sure when you're doing your budgets for the new year and you're doing all the things, stay locked in with us. Continue to promote, support, tell your friends, tell your family, engage in any opportunity. We have a big campaign that is getting ready to launch that is strictly for this reason. It is to build up so that we can go out and attack the community and put those athletes in front of children, in front of community-based things and businesses, to grow their own name, image, and likeness. So just don't forget about us while you're out here. You can always purchase a hat. The hats are still on the website. Many of you are, probably preaching to the choir, because many of you have hats. But if you don't, purchase one. It could be a nice gift as well, birthday gift, Christmas gift, or just something to wear around, because we love our Rattlers orange and green. So just stay locked in. We appreciate y'all for coming in and hanging out with us every Thursday, right? We have different shows, but like clockwork, you all are always here to engage with us, talk with us, have conversations and things of that nature. So we really, really appreciate you all and what you all have done, and just stick with us, because we're going to grow in 2025. We're going to make this thing bigger and better for our athletes. We want to help. We want to be in the Celebration Bowl next year, right? We want to be in all the SWAC championships we can be in next year for every sport possible. So the way to do that is to engage in name, images, and likeness, and help these athletes, and make sure that FAMU is appealing as we know it is, and put FAMU at the forefront from the athletic department. So we're coming up on rounding up the show. Any parting words to Shay? We said we wouldn't be on here long, so we've talked about Celebration Bowl. We've talked about the band of the year competition. We've talked about graduations coming up this weekend, so make sure you see some of those athletes who may be posting on social media about their graduation. Congratulate them, thank them for being a part of the family, and welcome them to the alumni world with the rest of us. So it's graduation this weekend coming up, and that's it for me. Just let's make sure we just stay locked in.
Go Rattlers.
Go Rattlers. Marvin said Rome wasn't built in a day. You're absolutely right, and we're doing this thing brick by brick, right? Brick by brick.
Brick.
We appreciate you, Marvin, and everybody else who comes in with us. So come check us out next week, right? Next Thursday.
Next week we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Probably be back with us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll have Ellis back in, and we'll work on getting some more content to create, give you some more, check us out on next Thursday. So with that being said, y'all have a safe evening. Thank you, Kenya, Meredith, Gail, Frank, Demetra, Marvin.
And if you're going to be in Atlanta, hit me up, because I will be.
If you're going to be in Atlanta,
hit me up. Okay, so I can meet some of y'all. If you're going to be at the Celebration Bowl or the Battle of the Bands, hit me up. I will be there. I'm in Atlanta. Y'all stay safe. Have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all next Thursday.
We'll see y'all later. Strike.